Well, today in studio we are joined by Ndahambelela Haifene, who is a legal practitioner and also owns her own public speaking training academy. But before we dive into that, let's take a look at what this week's zone has in store for us. Well, on the front page, we have an article by Irene Marie van der Walt about the AS levels, where how these learners will be accommodated.
Very interesting, because as a former AS level learner myself, I'd love to see how it all plays out.
Yes.
So I think it's a very insightful article. That's why be sure to grab your zone papers in the Algemeine Zeitung, Namibian Sun and Republican, so that you can get more insight. But moving onto page 2, we see a little bit more of the bilateral friendship between China and Namibia, as the Jiangsu province in China donates a little bit more of the anti-pandemic supplies
Yes.
to the Windhoek district. So be sure to read that story.
Well, also on page 2, we have the photo of the week, which is from the legendary barber. Not even legendary barber, the Legends Barber doing legendary things. They went to the University of Namibia and were giving out free haircuts. I mean, this has been something that they've been doing through ever since they opened. They went to different high schools, they went to primary schools, and now they're going to universities. They are making sure.
They are, and I think it's quite the marketing strategy.
Yeah, and also on page 2, we of course have our Vox Pops, where we visited the University of Namibia, and since now school is going back to fully face-to-face, we wanted to find out how the students feel about that.
How do you feel about it?
Well, if I'm being honest, I think it's a good thing because it's not going to be a lot more interaction in class, but like, it's just, I think, when so much time passes by and you get used to something, then it's so difficult to now again change back. I have to wake up early, I have to go to class, you know. So all in all, it's a good thing. Interaction will be there. It's a bad thing in terms of some learners now will actually have to study, because many a times they didn't have to study, they just wrote their test with a textbook and stuff like that.
I think it's also quite the adjustment, because now you can't attend class in your pajamas while eating cornflakes in your bedroom anymore. Like, that can't work anymore. But let's hear what the university students have to say.
Hi, I'm Tana Shamabre, and I think it's really nice that we're doing face-to-face now, because it's easier. It's easier for us to interact with our lecturers. We get more work done, and work is done efficiently, and it's nice to be on campus and make friends and get to know people. It's nothing but varsity, which is why
I'm Loida Mombala, and I feel it's a good thing that it's changing, because it was really hard coping last year, because it's online and you don't get to ask when you don't understand.
Hi, my name is Nadia Urimobandu. I am a first-year law student at UNAM, and I'm very ecstatic to hear that classes will move away from online to full-time, which is kind of like an advantage, because we will be able to find our classes, we'll be able to find our lecturers more easier, and this will enable us to actually get a hang of how first year would be, and especially from students coming from grade 12 to first year. So it's going to be awesome in that terms of being face-to-face.
It's a bit overwhelming, especially with the classes and the workload. I mean, it was a lot last year, but I feel it was a bit more manageable. Now I have practicals face-to-face, and also lectures, and also tests and quizzes.
Hi, I'm Nicole Limbo, and how I feel about face-to-face classes is I think it's a really good thing, because we get to interact with one another, because at the end of the day, human interaction is so important, and plus I feel like being in class and having lectures actually explain to you in person is way better than staring at a computer screen.
Well, on page 3, we have an article about the Capricorn Foundation that recently donated or helped about 10 ECD centers in Oshakati. Amazing.
Brilliant stuff.
Yes.
Imagine, I think early childhood development investment is so important, because these are future leaders. So if you want to invest in your future.
Yes, you start from there, and then from there they can grow up into being potential leaders.
The Capricorn Foundation is committed to improve the learning environment of young children and their teachers across Namibia, and believes that quality early childhood development gives children a strong foundation for their future education. The Capricorn Foundation is therefore proud to announce its support to Development Workshop Namibia towards improving the quality of early childhood development centers in informal settlements with a donation of 400,000 Namibian dollars. The support from Capricorn Foundation will be channeled towards the upgrading of 10 ECD centers that Development Workshop supports in the Oshakati informal settlements. The project will directly benefit 300 children at these centers, and a further 1,400 children from 46 ECD centers in Oshakati will also benefit from shared libraries. Research shows that children who have access to quality education from a very young age are more likely to start their formal school education equipped with the cognitive, social, and emotional skills they need to thrive. Capricorn Foundation are therefore proud of our partnership with Development Workshop, who has a positive track record in enhancing early childhood development in Namibia.
So why don't you tell us? Let's talk about page 4 of the zone.
Well, on page 4 we have a feature story by Brian Munango, and this feature story is about financial literacy amongst the youth, because I mean we are young. I can be one that is guilty of this. Sometimes you just don't know how to use your finances. You wake up and you're like, oh my God, I have so much money. 2 minutes later you're like, yo, you know. So yeah, something that is very, very important.
And it's really the spending culture of the youth. When I say the youth, I include myself, because I use anything, any little inconvenience to buy myself a tartlet. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
Any little inconvenience to eat lekker kos.
Yeah. it's a must.
It's a must.
It's very important.
It's a must. You know, yeah, oh my goodness, I stepped in water. Now I'm taking myself out to sushi.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing.
Wow, Jemima. Wow. I stepped in water. I took myself out to sushi. No, girl.
It's an inconvenience. It's an inconvenience. But moving on to page 5. It's again about early childhood development. But here we see the Wake Up Education Center celebrating 12 years in the education industry. Imagine 12 years of investing in early childhood development. That's a story that you ought to read if you're interested in what we spoke about earlier.
If I were you, I'd be rushing to the store to get myself either the Namibian Sun, the Allgemeine Zeitung, or the Republican. Yes, also on page 5 we have an article about Hilma Weber, who recently launched her, oh my God.
Is it not the Childhood Atlas?
Yes, the Children's Atlas on the wildlife and stuff. I think it's something that is very important, because educating children is just, it's just so mind-blowing.
And it's so impactful, you know, and I think if this had been done earlier, I'm not saying the timing is not right, but had it been done earlier, I would not have been afraid of dogs. I'm just saying, an atlas on wildlife, I wouldn't be afraid of lions, I wouldn't be afraid of animals.
Hi, you can give me the atlas, even if I was 6 years old, you can give me the atlas. A lion is a lion, and he blame me mentally. I'm staying far away from the lion. But Jemima, run us a little bit about what's happening on page 6.
On page 6, you know, guys, if you are a sport lover such as myself, please read page 6 of the zone every week on a Tuesday. But, you know, let's talk about what happened this weekend, according to the Zone newspaper, was the Pupkewitz Mega Build Premier Soccer Youth League. So this is more, according to the article, it's more like a preparation tournament that just helped these learners, these players. I was corrected when I said learners. A bunch of soccer players,
learners, yeah.
So it just helps these players then prepare for the season that's going to kick off in 2 weeks, the soccer season that's going to kick off in 2 weeks. So if you'd like to know how their tournament went, please make sure to grab yourself a copy. But also we have
the basketball.
The basketball, yes. The Basketball Artist School had their volunteering workshop, and this was all because of this brilliant woman named Patrina Aaron. Now let me tell you about her, Hancho. Patrina Aaron is the recipient of the Commonwealth Women's Leadership scholarship.
Oh.
And she used the scholarship and she used it to, she basically invested into her community again through the basketball artist school. But I don't want to give too much away of this story so that our viewers can get it for themselves.
If you really want to know, if you really want to know, then you're going to get yourself a newspaper.
You're going to grab that paper. That's what you're going to do.
Like in a rude way. And then she comes, one person comes and then helps him in a way that, you know, this is how you're supposed to treat this person.
Now, on page 7, we have another educationally transformative, but an article on a young tutoring program. So this tutoring program, Honcho, basically managed to have all their learners score 98% and 100%. They had a 98 and 100% pass rate for grade 11 and grade 12.
That's good. That's good. I love to see people winning. I definitely do. Well, also on page 7, we have our star teacher of the week, Mr. Naval Gariseb, who is a history and geography teacher all the way in Keetmanshoop at PK de Villiers Secondary School. Our teachers are people that are actually very, very important and
pillars of society.
Yes, I feel like teachers are the mothers and fathers to each and every career choice that the child will take, because it's due to high school and it's due to school that this child can even get onto a educational path. So it's a very good thing.
But guys, please do make sure to hear what Mr. Neville Garcia has to say.
There are many reasons why I chose to become teacher. One of them is to enrich our nation with knowledge and attitudes that they can use in the future, to see them grow as not as just a kid, but as a human being, giving the best in life, and also to become good citizens of our country, productive ones actually. So us teachers, we are only happy when we see the best out of our learners, and we want to give them the best. So it's one of the many reasons that I can give you.
Well, if you're just joining us, you are watching Generation C, and I'm here with a lovely, lovely guest. I mean, dressed to kill, dressed in black, one of my favorite colors. Hi, Ndahambelela, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm good. Thank you so much for availing yourself today. All right, Ndahambelela, let's get right into it. Give us a brief about your background, about you growing up, education, all that.
Okay, so my name is Ndahambelela Haifene. I am born and raised in the northern part of Namibia. That's Ohangwena region, the famous region. Yes, I did my primary school at one of the best schools in my region. That's Enana Primary School, and then I attended my high school at Ndahambelela Haifene Secondary School, also one of the best schools in my region. And then I came to Windhoek, but there's something I would like to highlight. I started public speaking in my 2nd grade at my primary school. I believe it was a privilege. And then I got into debating in high school, and then I discovered law. The whole time I wanted to be a CA, and then I discovered law in grade 11. Then I was like, yes, law it is. Then I came to university. I studied a Bachelor of Laws honors degree from the University of Namibia. And then I was employed as an intern and now a candidate legal practitioner. Yes.
Love. Candidate legal practitioner. I think I need to come see you so that we can become my lawyer. Yes. All right. So you've touched a little bit on what actually sparked this journey. I mean, you said debating and public speaking, but is there, other than debating and public speaking, is there anything else that has sparked and added much more flame to this light that has been there?
I think it's because growing up, I didn't have quite like inspiration or, you know, like people that I look up to. So it was always that thing of me wanting to be different than everybody else.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like conform to the norm. You know, even my career, everybody at home it's teaching and nursing, and those were their careers. And then I came home, I'm like, I want to be a lawyer. My mother's like, what? So it's like, I think that constant edge of wanting to be different, irregardless of where I am and my background and all that, and not wanting to be defined by where I come from.
Wow.
Is really what got me where I am today.
Yes, amazing, amazing. I mean, just from what you said, I can tell that you didn't want to fall into the same line, because, you know, especially when you're coming from the village, they're already expecting you to like, oh, okay, so Ndahambelela, you're going to be a teacher, English, or Shuambo, Shukanyama, something like that. And you decided, no, I'm going to be a lawyer. Yes. Right. So Ndahambelela, you also have a speaking training academy. Tell us a little bit about that and what actually inspired that.
Okay, so I started speaking in my 2nd grade. It was honestly an honor.
Yeah.
But also I feel like it's one of those things when you are the hyper child at school. I was everywhere. Athletics, netball. I remember this other time, I didn't even know what rugby was. I remember watching it and I told my coach, we are doing rugby today instead of netball. So really, and then I was doing all this speaking, HIV and AIDS awareness club, every club in the school, it was me. So then my teachers, I think at that time, I didn't see it. But every time there was any speaking related thing at the school, they are like, no, you go. Represent the school, you go. And so I grew up in that. And then when I came to university, of course, and I did law, I didn't know anyone in Windhoek. I'm just a girl from a small village in the north. I came here, and then I knew a few people from debate championships, nationals, and all those things. So then I started putting myself out there. I will go to these events. I will look for events online, conferences. I will go there. Then I would speak to people. And I think I was amazed when people would like to get to know me more beyond the conference. They're like, okay, can I actually have your contact number? I think I have a project that I would like you to be on. And then also when I was referred as an advisory board member, I was like, okay, fine. And then they're like, no, we like the way you speak. And then one day I sat and I'm like, okay, if people actually see there is value in me being able to articulate myself very well, then how about I give each and every person an opportunity to do that? Then that's where the academy came. Took 4 years to plan though.
Wow. I mean,
yes, it took 4 years to plan. Then that's when I was like, I should turn this into a public speaking training academy. But then yet I needed to study that industry. I needed to understand what goes into that. I needed to know which relevant authorities am I supposed to go to and all that. So yes.
Wow, that's actually very good. And I think so many people don't understand that you just don't wake up one day and like, I have this idea, let me start executing. I think we had that conversation before this, and it's like, it takes time. You need to plan, you need to study the industry that you're going into and all that. All right. You've mentioned that during primary school you used to do a lot. Basketball, like everything. And I'm even from just coming to Varsity, I can tell that you are one that was probably very busy, always on your feet. So how is the management now with school? And it's not just any course, it's law. A lot of people are like, oh my God, like the books are eating us there by law. So tell us a little bit about how you balance school and all of the other extracurricular activities.
I think the first thing that helped me was that I didn't live with relatives. I lived in the hostel in Imona. So then I always had time because I'm not really responsible of the cooking, the doing dishes and all that. But more than ever, I would say planning. I'm a to-do list type of person. That's how we roll. Every day of my life, but also because law school is quite, I would say it's flexible to an extent. We don't have exhaustive classes, but the work is a lot. But during that time, I had part-time jobs, even because I needed also money and all this. But I would say planning. Planning and also learning to understand your body and your mind and how it operates. Listen to your body, because there are times where I'll be in the middle of work and my body is just like, you know what? Now we are about to shut down. And in those moments, I need to be able to acknowledge that and really just take a step back and wait, because I know once I rest, when I come back, I'm stronger again, and then we can keep on running.
Yeah, indeed, what you mentioned is very important. Planning is what will take you a very, very long way. You know, Mr. Rest, one of my principals and my high school principal always said, failing to plan is planning to fail. Yeah, so that's actually a very good thing. And also you just make time for the things that you always want, you know. All right, so tell us a little bit about your biggest accomplishments thus far.
You know, that I got that question. I think people ask me, what's your biggest accomplishment? It's going to sound a little bit cliche, but truly finding my identity in God. I think this generation, there's a lot of identity crisis where we don't know what to identify with, where we don't know who we truly are. And that I feel like it plays a huge role in things that you are able to accept in your life and what you're not able to accept in your life. Certain opportunities will come, and if you know who you are, and for me that came with me knowing who I am in Christ in terms of what God says about me, that anytime that somebody tells me, I know, I've been told it's not going to work, and I tell people, no, God gave me this vision and it's going to work.
It's going to work, yes.
Very, very so important. I feel like having an identity that is rooted for me in Christ, and hopefully everybody else would agree with me, but I mean, it's a free world. But really, that's my biggest accomplishment. But then obviously, launching Equipped Speakers after 4 years, I cried before launching. Even the day of the launch, I cried because it took a lot. I'm like, 4 years and later we are here. And then obviously doing my bachelor's degree in 4 years. I know to some people, they're like, but it's just a degree. And I'm like, you people don't understand what that degree to get in 4 years. There are people that are unable to do it, maybe because of financial issues or emotional issues, mental health issues. And that is why I always say I'm really privileged to be able to do it in 4 years. Yes.
Wow, Ndahambelela, I could literally just speak to you all day. I really do not want you to go, but do you have any final words for our lovely viewers?
Okay, to everybody that is listening, I think the one thing that I would like to tell every young person is this: go for the one thing that every time if you have to wake up and do it, you are not going to be tired. Yes.
Very
do
important.
that one thing. And also for my lovely 9 to 5, you know, people, I'm a 9 to 5. The traditional aspect of 9 to 5, it's not really something I agree with 90%. But one thing I want to say is don't bury yourself in someone's vision at the expense of your own. Because one day you are replaceable, but you can never be replaceable at your vision because it's yours.
Wow.
But in somebody's else, you can.
Yes, wow, lovely words. Lovely words. Guys, there was Ndahambelela Haifene, candidate legal practitioner, and also has her own public speaking training academy. Could you just quickly tell the viewers where can they get a hold of this academy in case they want to join?
Okay, so we can be reached on Instagram. We have an Instagram page that is Equipped Speakers. You can also reach me on my email that is haifene@gmail.com, and of course on my cell phone number that is 081-4385-287, and then we'll be able to assist you. Thank you.
Right, Ndahambelela, thank you so much.
And thank you for having me.
Hi guys, and welcome back to our second segment of Generation C, where we look at what is happening at schools in and all around Namibia. So on page 5, in the zone, we have an interview with Ms. Rira, the principal of Westside High School, who believes that her school's resilience in times of adversity is only one of the qualities that make her school unique.
The Commerce Times will be coming out, of course. This Commerce Times is a school newspaper which consists of 3 different schools in Commercedal, basically, which is Ella Du Plessis High School, the David Besaidenout High School, as well as the, oh my God, Komastura, yes, oh my God, Komastura. How can I forget Komastura? One of my faves.
Please grab yourself a copy of The Zone.
Right, so up next we do have the Varsity chat room. Stay tuned. Well, with all that's happening with schools around Namibia, let's take a look at what's happening to the universities as well as university students all around the world.
Firstly, I think there's an important element when we talk about universities, which is then these complementary institutions, such as NAMCOL, TUCSIN, that allow students who didn't perform, you know, didn't have any excellence or stellar performance to go to university, you know, despite of their academic shortcomings.
You definitely have to.
Today for Varsity Chatroom, we have the Director of TUCSIN, Mr. Cliff Olivier himself. But you guys will have to be patient with us, because if you do stay tuned and if you do keep on watching this episode, then you'll get to meet the man himself.
Yes.
Welcome back, viewers, to our third and last segment of today's episode of Generation C. As you can see today in studio, we have our second guest that will be most relevant and helpful to all our tertiary viewers out there. Today I'm joined in studio by the Director of TUCSIN, Mr. Cliff Olivier. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm fine. Thank you very much.
I'm very well, thank you. I hope you're having a lovely day thus far.
Yes, thank you. I've had a good day. Thank you.
Now, sir, let's just dive into, just to give our viewers who are not at TUCSIN a little bit more information about the institution and what they stand for and where they can help.
Yes.
You know, so.
Well, TUCSIN is a very old organization. We're 44 years old this year, and we established before independence. TUCSIN stands for the University Center for Studies in Namibia. It was before there was a university in Namibia. We wanted to start the conversation about university. So we had visiting professors, and we sponsored students right in the beginning, you know, because at that time, the education system was not that good. So to get students into universities, particularly from disadvantaged environments, we sponsored those students so that they could improve their matric results and so that they could go to university. And that's where we started. So we've been doing that now since that time. So we help people to upgrade their qualifications, their matric qualifications, so that they can go to university. And we've impacted a lot of lives. I mean, you know, we're counting about 30,000 people that we have helped in our lifetime. So it's been a long time. And our results are always very good, you know, so that's what TUCSIN is. There's another aspect of TUCSIN that we do not know is TUCSIN also has helped in disadvantaged communities. TUCSIN is present in Tumkwe, for example. There we are doing informal training. We're there with the lodge there in Tumkwe, you know. So we're all over the place. Oh. We have two centers here in Windhoek. We have a center at our main center here in Eros. We have a center in Kommersdal, opposite the NTA, and we have a center in Oshakati. Where we are doing this upgrading now of grade 12 and grade 11 results. Yes.
Oh, that's very interesting. I'm very interested, and I think our viewers are too, in the Tumkwe branch you were talking about. Could you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, there's more, you see, because we don't do formal training there. We're doing livelihood training. So we identify the needs of the community and we find whatever training is needed for them. Like in women groups, for example, help them in business management. We help also in upgrading facilities, like at Aasvoelnest, for example. We are working with the Rotary Club there to renovate those hostels and so on. But mainly training we've just done now with the GIZ. We've done some training with computers in Tumkwe, you know. So it's more informal. We also help. The problem is with some children, they drop out of school, you know, so we help them to stay in school by giving them clothes or mattresses and things to sleep on, just for them to remain in school, you know. So there's a lot of activities. Even in the communities, we build campsites so people can actually go camp closer to the sun, homes, you know, so that so that you can take the economy to the villages and so on.
So you'd say it's an overall enhancement of lifestyles that you guys aim to do, in addition to helping people achieve their tertiary goals.
That's right.
So TUCSIN is more like a stepping stone.
Yes, I would say so. We've enabled a lot of people, you know. So at the moment, I mean, we've always had very good results. When students come to us, you know, normally they're despondent because they've just sort of failed, you know. And then they come and then they work hard. People jump 4 to 5 symbols. You get people coming with an F, they leave with an A. You know, we've had those sorts of results. People just come and they work hard. You will at least move 1 symbol, you know, at least. But normally, you know, 4 or 5 symbols, you know, people come, leave with A stars. Like now in history, our whole history class passed, half of them had A stars, you know, so in mathematics, 96% pass in mathematics. So, you know, we've been able to make a lot of difference. We have very good teachers, but it's also the contact time, you know, that we have with the students. TUCSIN is a bit expensive, but TUCSIN is a non-profit.
Yeah.
And if you have the amount of contact time that you have with the teachers, and if you want the best teachers, you need to pay them very well. So, and that pays off at the end of the day. People are happy at the end of the day because they, you know, TUCSIN has made a difference in their lives. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand, but as you said, you know, normally these students, they leave the, you know, normal state schools,
Yes.
leaving very despondent because of their results. And how are your teachers equipped to deal with this despondency?
Yeah. Oh, we have very good teachers. They're experienced teachers, and just by changing the atmosphere, you know, becoming more strict and being really interested in the students' lives. You know, the teachers get really involved in the students' lives, so they want to know. They know what the students want to study. They know who they are. You know, they take a real interest in them, and in their work. You know, and they become very strict. You know, we have a very strict environment, and the students respond to that. You know, they do very well at the end of the day. Yes.
So what's the difference between a normal secondary school's contact time and the TUCSIN contact time that you're talking about?
Well, ours is more. You know, we have more. We in mathematics, for example, we have 6 hours of contact time a week. You know, and in the higher level, or the AS level that we are also offering now, 9 hours of contact hours per week. You know, so it's quite a large amount of time that we are spending with the students face to face. Then you expect them still to go do their homework and, you know, come back and respond in tests and things like that. Yeah. So.
But could you please explain to our tertiary viewers out there, is it then or even our secondary school viewers who are probably prospective students, could you please explain the difference between the time schedules? You know, normally in high school, you go to school from 7 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. Is the process still the same, or is it then a little bit different?
It's different. We have some classes in the afternoons, because we also have part-time teachers that are teaching. So some classes in the afternoon, some classes are in the mornings. So it just depends on which subjects you are taking. So, you know, you could be busy in the mornings and in the afternoons. You know, so so the time is I think you must actually sort of set up to be there from 8 to 5, basically, yes.
I understand. And also, if TUCSIN is then a place where you can upgrade your qualifications, do you then need any qualifications to go in there? You know?
Yes. Well, I mean, it's a place to repeat.
Yeah.
So if you have done grade 11, you can come repeat grade 11, you know. If you've done AS, you can come and repeat AS if there's some subjects you want to repeat. But now, because of this changeover that has happened in education, we can now take in the former grade 10s, you know, the old ones that
the legacy curriculum.
Legacy grade grade 10s. We can take them in. We can take in the legacy grade 12, legacy higher level. We can take them in, and then you can integrate them into this new system. So the legacy grade 12 higher level can actually do the AS. And the others can do the ordinary level, which is the grade 11. So the grade 10s can also come to grade 11. And then we can also take the current grade 11s that want to improve that qualification because they want to get back into high school or they want to go to university. We've actually had students now that have finished that grade 11 and they went straight to NUST and because they had A's, you know. So they could just go to NUST and to IUM. Before, I think UNAM is... I heard that they are changing now and taking people, you know, at grade 11 with grade 11 qualifications, but before that it was not possible.
So does this mean that TUCSIN would have to expand because you guys are now working with 4 different groups, as I understand, you're accommodating 4 different groups. Does it mean you have any plans to expand?
Well, not at the moment. You know, we must just first. It's a bit slow at the moment. You know, we would like people to come and register. So you know, they should come. we hope that more of them will come actually to come and register. Yes, but we have new plans also. I mean, because you know, education in Namibia is a problem at the moment. We are, if you look at the unemployment of graduates, you know, just looking at the 2018 labor force statistics, there's about 12,000 university graduates that don't have work. 1/3 of the vocational training graduates don't have work, which means that the tertiary institutions are producing students that can't find work, the industry can't absorb them. So we have to do something about that. And TUCSIN is starting to take a lead in this area.
Wow.
So we're gonna do some what we call digital vocational training, because the thing is with digital training, with digital skills, is that you can sit in Namibia, but you can work anywhere in the world because of internet. You know, so you can do coding for somebody in New York or in Japan or wherever. You know, so we are moving into that direction, also in line with this fourth industrial revolution, to start training in those skills that are necessary, robotics and coding, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, those sorts of things. That's a new area that we are developing into. Yes.
You mentioned that it's very difficult for university graduates to be incorporated in the, you know, work life.
Yes.
What do you think the cause of that is? Do you think that?
Well, I think there's a mismatch.
Solution?
There's a mismatch between the training, between what we are training and what industry needs. And then also our industry is too small. You know, so it can't absorb all the graduates. You know, so there's just not enough work for everybody. So if you expand the job market by exposing people to the international job market, because then your job market becomes the world.
Yeah.
You know, so if you have a skill that you can actually work overseas with, you can sit on your farm and then work in New York. You know, it's interesting stuff. The way that things are changing nowadays. And also, I mean, we have to move with times, with this green energy that the government is pushing now. We have to start developing in that area, you know. We have to start, not just the old traditional things. I mean, even the cars. Europe is changing now to electric cars. I think from 2025, there's not going to be any more new electric cars built in Europe. So we need to start training people who can fix electric cars and not the old cars, you know. So I think we have to start looking forward, and education has to respond to this. So there are a lot of skills that you actually need to build at the bottom, you know, on the basis. Some of them are innovation, you know, be able to work with groups, to work with other people. You know, the skills that are needed are a bit different from what the universities used to train.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge, but it's also so exciting because it's a new challenge for everybody, you know.
Definitely.
For us at TUCSIN, we're trying to respond to that because we've always tried to be innovative in education. I mean, when we started the complementary course, we call this upgrading because we're complementing the matric. And when we started that, it was an innovation. Other people have taken on that, and there are a lot of innovations now. I mean, NAMCOL, for example, is doing a lot of that now, a lot of some other training institutions. Now we're trying to take the next step. What is the next innovation to respond to the education crisis that we are experiencing in this country? Because, I mean, with unemployment, it's a major problem, you know, that we can't create jobs, or that we also can't create entrepreneurs who can start their own jobs, you know, can start their own businesses. I think that's where the important thing is, to create those small businesses that people can actually start small businesses that can grow the country.
Yeah.
But then you need the skills to be able to do that, you know.
And to manage that.
Yes. And to think differently about things, you know, it's all about thinking differently, you know, it's innovation. It's because if you can just be thinking, okay, no, let me just learn a subject off by heart and just know, no, you actually have to think about what are you doing and how to innovate using that, you know, looking at things from a different perspective, not just always believe what you see in the newspapers or what you hear on the radio, but to think of getting your own perspective on that, you know, thinking about, you know, if you look at it from another perspective, from higher up or from lower down or from left or right, what does it look like, you know, so to get a different perspective on
dimensional thinking.
Yes, I think so. So it's interesting stuff for us at TUCSIN. We're trying to move in that direction. So exciting times are coming for us, you know, so we're hoping that we'll able to, you know, working with other people in the country, because I mean the government has also started a Fourth Industrial Revolution Committee. So the government has also started thinking about, you know, education. Universities are also starting to think about how do we respond to this new revolution that is taking place. And it's actually also wider than what people think. People only think it's computers. It's not. You know, the Industrial Revolution is when your transport changes radically, like it's changing now from a internal combustion engine to electrical engine to self-driving cars. The transport is changing. Your communication is changing. It's changing. The internet is changing, and the energy is changing. We're changing from oil-based to renewable energy. So when those three things change at the same time, that's when you have an industrial revolution, and that's what's happening at the moment. So there's an explosion. There's this big change that's happening, and we can't just be training in the same way that we've been training, you know, up to now. We have to change. We have to train differently because life is changing so fast. You know, at TUCSIN, something else that I also wanted to mention is also the way that we are learning. You know, we've looked at the science of learning.
Yes.
Of course, I mean, they say repetition is the mother of all learning, but it is also like that. So this is what we try to apply at TUCSIN, is this, how do you learn? And what is the science behind learning? So that you actually apply that in the way that you teach. And you see the results. You know, the results are there for us to enjoy at the end of the day. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Olivier. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of this very, very thought-provoking interview, if I might say so myself. And also, I hope that our tertiary and prospective secondary school learners learned a thing or two.
Yes.
So just to clarify, if I would like to upgrade my marks at TUCSIN, I do not need a certain percentage or a certain mark in order to do so. I can just go and you will accept me as I am.
We'll accept you as you are, and we will help you to achieve your goal.
Okay.
Yes.
Brilliant stepping stone. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Olivier. Unfortunately, we've come to the end, as I've mentioned. Have a good one.
Page 8, we have an article about Hannes Makaveli, who is a 21-year-old Namibian student who's currently at the University of Cape Town in his third year of electrical engineering. Is it electrical engineering? Yes. So, oh my God, I love when Namibians go and secure their bag.
Honestly.
Like, that is securing your bag with a degree.
Well done, Hannes.
Well done, well done, well done. Well, unfortunately, all great things do have to come to an end. It was definitely a pleasure being with you guys in Generation C today. Yes. But until next week, it is, of course, I am bombing all the way home right now.
So from me, Jemima Ndebele.
And from me, Hanshika Pofi, it is, of course, bye for now.